Welcome to Astroventure, the DSLR astrophotography channel. Hey there, Astroventurers, welcome back. If you're new to this astrophotography channel, my name is George, and this is the astrophotography channel for DSLR and mirrorless camera bodies combined with the lenses we already own in a simple star tracker like the Skyguider Pro or the Star Adventurer. Tonight, I'm going to take you through a quick setup with my Skyguider and my Nikon D500 paired with a 300mm lens. And if you've been following the channel for any amount of time, you probably know that I use an iPolar. However, tonight I am going to go ahead and do my polar alignment using my ASIair. So let's get started. Now, as I move through this, you'll see me kind of stepping back to pick up some of my equipment and bringing it forward, so I'll kind of go in and out of focus. But please, be patient with me here. Okay, so I've got my Skyguider Pro base with the, I have my Skyguider Pro upgraded base of the William Optics wedge, and I am going to get started by using my laser glow laser. I'm going to put it into the cradle. I'm going to push it up against the right hand side of the William Optics base. Reason being is because this left side, and I apologize, left, right, it may get flipped between us, but this side over here is solid and rigid. This side moves in and out, so I'm going to push it up against the rigid side. I'm going to turn it on, and I am going to align my base quickly to Polaris. Now, I've already done that because to try and do it with this filming light on, you just wouldn't see the laser. Okay, next up, let's get the Skyguider Pro. Okay, we're going to go ahead and mount that into the base. There we go. Tighten that down. Going to remove, well, actually I was going to remove the cap for the iPolar, but we're not using it. So let's go over and get the bracket that we need. In a previous video, you would have seen where I've moved this cup from the original long end here up to the shorter end to help give more extension for the weight. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on now. Lock it down. There we go. That's locked into place. Okay. There we go. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get my weight bar and weight and put that on next. My reasoning for this is because if I go ahead and mount the camera and it ends up being the heavier side, it could slip and then something could collide with the legs of the tripod. So let's grab the weight. And I will go ahead and loosen up the weight from the bar. And I will go ahead and get this bar screwed into the base. Excuse me, not into the base, into the bracket. There we go. Tighten down the weight. There we go. Okay, we're all set there. Next, I'm going to go ahead and grab the camera. So for tonight, I'm going to be using my Nikon D500 paired with a 300mm prime lens. And for my intervalometer, I am using my Pixel Pro wireless intervalometer. Now, to put it onto this bracket, I have my William Optics upgraded. I don't know, I'm going to call it a deck adapter. I apologize if I'm calling it incorrectly. And I'm going to go ahead and get that screwed onto the foot of my lens. Just so you know, those of you that may not be experienced in photography, if you're using a lens that uses a foot, you should be attaching to the foot, not to the camera. By that foot being there, it means that there's too much weight to be carried by the mounting flange of the camera body. Okay, so here we go. I've got that on there. Loosen that up. Slip this on. Okay, there we go. And I will go ahead and get that tightened on. Now I'll go ahead and move to balancing. Now when I set this up, I prefer to have slight east heavy, and so I'm going to go ahead and loosen the clutch, and I'm going to rotate this over, and I'm going to slide this weight out until I find that I'm slightly east heavy, meaning that there will be a slight pull down on the eastern side of my setup. Still not there. This is one of those things, take your time, get it right. This is always so much more fun to do in the cold. When you're touching all this metal, I don't mind tonight. Starting to finally warm up here in Utah. Okay, I've got a slight, ever so slight east heavy, so I'm going to go ahead and lock my clutch in now. And next we'll move on to getting set up with the ASIair. Okay, Astroventurers, here we go. We're going to get fired up with this ASIair. I just powered it up. It'll take a moment for that to get going. I'm going to use the appropriate cable that I need for my D500 to connect to the ASIair. On the camera here, I have already done a focus on a distant star, making sure that the camera is in bulb mode, and I have the camera set to RAW, which are prerequisites for using the ASIair software. So now that we've got, in a moment ago, you probably heard the tone. Now that we've got the ASIair fired up, we're going to go ahead and see what we can do to go ahead and do a polar alignment off of the ASIair. Okay, so here we go. Let's see, we're going to enter the ASIair software. It's gotten the Latin long off of my phone that I am using for pairing with the ASIair. Mount, I have that set to on camera, ST4, and the reason being is that I am not using any go-to mount. Main guide scope. Actually, this is main and guide scope. I'm going off of the main. I have no guide scope. I have that set to a focal length of 450 millimeters. I never remember if I need to accommodate for the crop factor or not. We'll see. If it fails, then I need to set it back to the 300 millimeters of the actual lens. Main camera, there it is, the D500. I've already got that set there, and we will go ahead and enter. Okay, now it's going to walk through, tells me all about the software. Okay, I'm going to go into polar alignment. Okay, here we go. I've got the camera set, and you know what? We're going to see what we can do. No, we need to shut that light off. So give me one moment while I shut this light off. Actually, what I will do is bring this down, and then hopefully I can get away with doing this off of the camera and getting my polar alignment. So here we go. I'm going to take the first shot. Okay, it was telling me no mount connected, and that's correct because I am not using a go-to mount. Okay, loading, plate solving. And let's see, if this fails, then I need to change this to a 300 millimeter focal length. And I have a feeling that it's already accounted for that, because reading on the screen here, it says chip size, and it's already factored in the fact that this is a crop sensor. So I'm going to hit cancel. I'm going to go back into the camera. I'm going to change my focal length to the 300 millimeters. You would think that I would get better with this. I never seem to remember. Okay. As to whether or not I have to account for the crop factor. Okay, skip. Okay, so here we go. Now, since I saw that it did factor in chip size, I think I did need to be at 300 millimeters, and we'll see. Yeah, plate salt took 1.7 seconds. So there we go, that was awesome. Okay, now the next instruction is that I need to rotate at 60 degrees. What I like to use, and I use this in mechanics, is I have a dial angle indicator, and I'm gonna go ahead and put this right up here against the weight. I'm gonna loosen the clutch. I'm going to rotate until I hit 60 degrees. And let's see here. Okay. There we go. And tighten this down. Okay. There's my clutch locked down. Moved it a little bit, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be that precise. Here we go. Next. Rotated. I'm going to tell it that it's rotated. Let it take its shot. Calculated. Let's go. And here it's going to tell me the adjustments that I need to make. So apparently with my light turned down, I can still do this. Okay, so let's see here. We need to adjust, and let's see here. Okay, when I do this, I go that way, and on the other one that's on the front. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna loosen this up, slide this over a little bit. And what I'm doing is I'm going to make one adjustment at a time. Refresh. I don't want to do both axes, otherwise I find that I tend to get myself confused. Okay, I am going in the right direction. Refresh. Now, one of the things that will really help me out is the fact that I am doing this on a William Optics base as opposed to the factory Skyguider base. The factory Skyguider base has so much slop in it that this would be a nightmare to do. I'm going to go ahead and pause this video while I continue to make these adjustments. I'll rejoin you as I start to make my altitude adjustments. Okay, I have made most of my left-right adjustments, and now I am doing my altitude adjustments. Now, when I do this, I like to get this down to just seconds of error, no minutes of error, and then I transition over to making my other adjustment. And the reason being, my vertical adjustment, the reason being is that ultimately I want to get to under 10 seconds. But the thing is I can dial in my one adjustment, get it to under 10 seconds, and then the moment I start to adjust whatever my other one is, if I'm going up, down, or left, right, it can throw off the first adjustment. So I like to get them down to just seconds of error, move to the other one, get that one down to just seconds of error, and then just bounce back and forth, tweaking it until ultimately I get it to under 10 seconds of error. Now, that can be really difficult with the stock base. With the William Optics, it's not a problem. And why do I want 10 seconds? The reason why I want 10 seconds is I have found that greater than 10 seconds, I tend to get some walking noise. And what I mean is that my target will start to drift across the frame over time, and then I end up with noise that doesn't get canceled out so well in deep sky stacker as I would like it to, because of this drifting of my target. But I found that I can really minimize that if I'm under 10 seconds. So as you can see on my vertical here, I'm doing just little micro adjustments, and this would be insane to be trying to do on the stock base. There's just too much slop. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the camera because there's no need to sit here and watch all this excitement as I make my final adjustments to get this under 10 seconds. And so I'll go ahead and pause the camera and rejoin you in a moment. Okay, there you have it. I am now on my vertical at 3 seconds of error, and my left-right, I am down to 8 seconds of error. This is, I'm more than happy with it, and I could sit here and I could adjust and tweak to try and get it down to 0. It's not worth the time and effort. There's enough natural slop that happens anyway that just getting under 10 seconds, I really don't see the problem with walking noise, and it's accurate enough. So I'm really happy with this. I'll go ahead and click finish. And it tells me congratulations, and it tells me that I was really slow about it. Nothing like criticizing you on how quick you worked. But the thing is that this is something that you just want to take your time with. And from here, I could move on to using the ASIair to do some plate solving and find a target. But tonight's video was just about showing you how to use the ASIair to do your polar alignment, and that really kind of negates the need for an iPolar. Couple things that I want to point out. With the calculations that the ASIair does, it wants that rotation of 60 degrees. You can go to any auto parts store and you're able to pick up a dial indicator, and that way there you can get your 60 degrees. I know some phones will do it, but in the field, Sasquatch Mike, when he was trying to do it, we used both his Apple phone and my Android phone. We couldn't find a good app that worked very well or was giving us enough sensitivity to give us that 60 degrees. So tried and true, I would go with a simple dial indicator that you can pick up at any auto parts store. Works beautifully. Well, there you go. I hope this helps you out in showing you some of the advantages of using an ASIair, and it kind of negates the need for an iPolar. And if you're looking at the current ASIair Mini, it's about $200. The iPolar is just a little bit over $200. I would steer you in the direction of check out the ASIair Mini. Not only will it do your polar alignment, but it's got a lot of other good stuff that you can use, such as plate solving to locate targets. If you like what you see here at AstroVenture, consider joining us over at our Facebook group, AstroVenture DSLR. And if you like the video and the content, consider liking, subscribing, and ringing the bell. Until next time, I wish you clear skies and uneventful nights.